faith, love, openness, willingness.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Faith, love, openness, willingness. You're in the flow with Rev Skip. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of In the Flow with Rev Skip. And I am Rev Skip, and when you are in the flow, you have faith, transformation can happen. You love yourself through each and every step of the process. Be open and willing to have a new experience for your transformation to take hold. I welcome you into the spiritual zone right here on the New Thought Media Network. So grateful to be a part of this family. And of course, I do not do this on my own. I have a partner, a co-producer. His name is Diego. Diego, come on in.
Come on, here I am. Good morning, Godling. Come on in.
I love how you open that.
Yes, I'm open.
Are you open? But are you willing? You said you're open, but are you willing?
I am willing. And yesterday, I ventured off and got my first COVID shot.
How you feeling, brother? How you feeling?
I feel okay. I feel a little reminiscent of the tetanus shot. My shoulder's a little sore today. I'm a little, I don't know.
Yeah. I have a lot of people who are talking about that soreness, and I also know that I'm very reminded that if you're going to choose to do it, God is in the medicine. If you choose not to do it, God is right where you are. So God is all over this place, whatever you choose to do. But I'm just so grateful. And I've been sharing with people. I did get mine because I'm going to go travel to my mom. But, I also am respecting everyone who's choosing not to or choosing to. So I just got to give props to that. So blessings, brother, and drink lots of water. That's what I've been told. Drink lots of water, and that's what I did, and I'm blessing this experience that we're having. I'm calling it the re-emerging from the tomb of the pandemic.
Yes.
We are re-emerging.
I'm affirming that.
And how you choose to re-emerge is up to you and how you're going to do it. But know that we're not going to be the same going into the pandemic as we are coming out of the pandemic. So expect the change. Expect to be in the flow of the new life that's emerging.
Just like Brother Wayne's telling us right there, I can, I will, I do. Divine right action.
Divine right action. I love that. I love that. So, what I do know, I've learned a lot in the middle of this time and what has happened throughout this pandemic, which I've been calling the sacred reset. Let's see, my podcast got picked up on this beautiful network. I got a radio show on Unity Radio with Faith Rivera and Reverend Jackie Fernandez. I created a t-shirt line. My clientele expanded. It tripled. My clientele tripled in the middle of this, and they're still with me. They're still hanging out with me. I launched a book. I did the Audible version of my book on Audible. I did it, recorded it, edited it, submitted it. A lot happened for me in the middle of this sacred reset, brother. It was divine.
We've been planting some seeds, and now they're blossoming. They're blooming.
They are blooming. So I have to bring light to this t-shirt line that and it's really doing really well, brother. Ooh. Your t-shirt is it's in the mail. I promise.
I told you we're going to start getting some letters from viewers if I'm not wearing one of those here next week.
It's coming. I promise. It truly is. Go ahead.
Tell us a little bit more about this line. Are we generating some positivity for another group?
Yeah, well, we are. This is the new chakra line, which is all about the yoga experience of love, joy, of yoga. And yoga is an acronym I actually use for your omni God awareness. And that's what yoga is, that God is everywhere present. Therefore, God is right where you are. But 10% of the proceeds of the profits is going to Kuumba in Motion. Kuumba in Motion is part of Ricky Byers' movement in helping young kids understand the divine presence that lives within them. I became aware with Kuumba in Motion when I used to go and teach yoga for the kids. I did it for 2 summers. I'm probably going to re-emerge into that space again when we begin to come into live teaching kids yoga, and we would do yoga games and we would find ways to balance ourselves. So Kuumba in Motion is very important to me. So 10% of the profits will be going to the organization.
Oh, that's beautiful. And what a blessing for those children. I remember my time at Agape in the summertime seeing the Kuumba kids.
It's amazing.
Just growing around the center.
Yeah, and support that. The other thing I want to announce, the official In the Flow with Rev Skip podcast, it actually says In the Flow with Rev Skip, is out now as well. It's on shoprevskip.com. 10% of the profits for that will be going to support this network. So we're going to be making money, and we're going to be making prosperity and plenitude to change the planet. And that's the mission. That's what we're doing. So get your In the Flow with Rev Skip t-shirt today, and also get your chakra and a lot of other collection there. But again, that is shoprevskip.com. We can make a difference with all the wonderful things we do.
Thank you for being Rev.
And thank you for being Diego. I love this. I love what we're going to do. And we just got to go ahead from Rev Briz that we can maybe work on another show. And I might not be the face of the show, but we will support someone else who wants to have a voice on this network. We have room for this. You and I co-produce someone else. We have room on this network, right?
We do.
So stay tuned for after the show. You'll be able to see how you can submit some stuff or maybe have a conversation about having your voice right here on the New Thought Media Network.
Ooh, come join the family.
Come join the family. Yeah. Thank you so much. I couldn't do this without you, my brother. Thank you so much for all the love you bring to this planet.
Love to you.
And everyone, now it's time for... Wellness Wake Up with Rev Skip. So today our wellness wake up is meditation is queen. And I when I first wrote that, I was like, meditation is king. I went, no, it's not. Meditation is queen. The divine feminine right now is happening. And let's talk about the benefits of meditation. I put this up here, but I want to go a little bit further and deeper into this. So it helps you to improve your brain, your mind focus, release the stress. It is also about reaching your goals, keeping your focus, helping you to balance, to free up all the things that are being held you back and all the things that, these are the real physical benefits of meditation. But here's what I do know. The reason why we meditate is to wake up. That's why we meditate. We wake up that we are connected to something so much greater than the human experience that we're seeing in front of us. In yoga, we call this the lying eyes. And it's also called the Maya, believing that this is truth. what we're experiencing. But what we're really experiencing is the divine connection with spirit. That's the main reason why we wake up. And yes, it's going to help the body temple, but the body temple is here to support our spirit. And as we connect with why we have a body to support our spiritual beings, because we're spiritual beings first, then we understand I'm sitting here to wake up to my spiritual connection with God. All right. So I'm going to do our quotable ponder right around this as well. This is our quotable ponder for today. And it comes from Pastor Diana Robinson in Florida. And we've been hearing this for so long. We've been hearing this, and I wanted to find out, I did the research, who actually said this quote first. And this is what I found. And the quotable ponder for today is, prayer is when you talk to God. Meditation is when you listen to God. So think about this, and I really got to break this down this week. If we're constantly talking, how can we listen? Mindful listening really requires stillness in our mind so we can hear. So once we hear, how do we know we're hearing God and we're not just into the ego construct of the mind? There's a sense of peace. When we know something and we heard something from God, there is this peace that just sets us into the space of yes. That is the yes. We get to you expressing spirit. The yes moment. We talk about this on the podcast quite a bit. So today, take time to listen, get still, quiet the mind, breathe. And sometimes your meditation can look like being in nature, or listening to a guided meditation, or listening to an inspirational song, Ricky Byers, or listening to life itself. But it's undistracted attention to what is real. And that comes from Michael Bernard Beckwith. So I'm so grateful to be a part of this community here, and I'm grateful that I get to celebrate this podcast with you. I'm also grateful for my next guest, and this person I've known for a long time. She was one of the very first people I met at Agape International Spiritual Center, and we were in some classes together, and I was sometimes on the road to becoming a minister. I pulled back, and then she was on the road to sometimes becoming a minister and pulling back. We would go back and forth in this beautiful dance of spirit. But you know, she's been a real close confidant and a friend of mine for a long time. And I'm so grateful for having Karen Brailsford on here. Let me tell you a little about, because I really had to do my research about what she's done. And I've had a copy of her new book. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But listen to this. She is an author, a spiritual guide, literary agent. She released her debut book, but she had some writings before that. We'll get into that again later on. The Sacred Landscape of the Soul. That says everything, right? The Sacred Landscape of the Soul, aligning with the divine wherever you are. Woo! I love that. I love that. She's a native New Yorker. What's up? I'm from the East Coast New Yorker. And she's a Yale graduate. Wow. Amazing. She's a licensed spiritual practitioner at Agape International Spiritual Center. And she's worked for, listen to this, Newsweek, Elle Magazine, People, In Touch, E! Entertainment. Okay, we got the real deal right here and right now. My friends, please put your virtual hands together from your heart. Let's welcome Karen into the flow. Hey, Karen.
Hey. Hi, Reverend Skip. Good to be here. I am so delighted to be here. I've just been like a big smile since I first sat down in preparing to be with you. So I know we're going to have a great time together.
Thank you so much for taking some time just to be in the flow with me. And you are truly one of my favorite people. I just love it. Besides your smile and just how you carry yourself. One of the places I really started to really connect with you was our Intervision writings, because we've been writing for Intervisions magazine. It's written by practitioners and ministers for a long time. And you do a consistent writing like I do probably every month. And there are some writings you get and you just read through them, but there's some writings you go, I can't wait to read Karen's writing this month because you take us deep. I love your writing. I love how you write, sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I like the way that God writes through me.
Yes.
That I am a conduit and it comes through me. I am that vessel. I am willing. And it's just a testament to being in the flow,
Yeah, in the flow. And one of the other things we get to do once a month, but you're doing it every day and every week. You hold down our crisis support center, which has been a part of my service. I come in once a month, and I was doing every week, and I think it was you or either Juliet said, Rev, we got to put you on once a month, because I was getting really burnt out. I was getting that place where we got to put you on once a month, and I was so grateful for that. I believe it's such an important thing, important ministry, the Crisis Support Center. Where have you seen us being beneficial presence during this pandemic, during this sacred reset?
Well, yes, you're so wonderful to point out the Crisis Support Clinic, which meets every Monday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time over Zoom, and it's a clinic in that congregants are welcome to log on to Zoom, and they get to go into a breakout room and meet one-on-one with the practitioner, a licensed agape practitioner, and they get to share. It's complimentary, it's for 20 minutes, and it's been a lifesaver and a soul saver for so many individuals, especially during the pandemic. We launched in March. We launched a year ago in March is what I'm.
A year ago in March, that's right. We've been doing it for a while.
Right as the quarantine, right as lockdown happened, and so it's been just a magnificent way to serve, to be of service to individuals.
What has been your biggest lesson throughout this sacred reset that we are experiencing? What has come forth of you going, okay, yeah, that was deep?
Well, as a practitioner, what we're doing is we're holding space, right? We are acknowledging what we see with the human eyes, right? We're not denying anyone what appears to be happening, but we're knowing that something more dynamic and something else is happening in the invisible. And so this has been a time for me of, as you know, my book is about different landscapes of the soul. And so I have really rested in the garden landscape, which is the landscape of blooming and flowering. So I've been writing so much. I've been serving. I've been listening. I've been holding space. And so I think naturally I'm inclined to go within. And as much as I love being really social and going to theater and plays and movies, that's been a part of my career even, and interacting with people and, hosting dinners. I am very content. I realized that was like the deepest revelation, that I'm very content to be in solitude and to be alone. So I've just been producing and creating, and that's been really fun and exciting to see. That even given, this doesn't mean that sometimes I say to myself or aloud, really, God? So I signed up for this?
Right.
I'm going to be, before I was born, I signed up to be in a global pandemic, in 2020. Really? I signed up for this. Okay.
We signed up.
Yeah, we signed up. That's what we always say. So I say, okay, if I signed up, I guess I got to move forward in it, huh?
Yeah. One of the things I love, you talked about landscape and being a garden. One of my favorite songs that have held me through this time, it's by Elevation Worship. And Elevation Worship, it's called From Grave to Gardens. And it talks about how God has changed my grave to garden. And it just speaks words to me, because I get motivation, inspiration from all types of music, but this has been really understanding of what this journey is all about in the sacred reset. So we always ask these questions right away to get deep into understanding who you are. Simply, who are you, Karen? Who are you?
I love that question. And what came to mind immediately was, I am a daughter of the Most High. Ooh. That's it. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's what I am. That's why I am here. I am a daughter of the Most High.
Yes. Oh. Okay, that could be a spiritual mic drop, but no, we have another 30 minutes on here. We can't do the spiritual mic drop yet. But as you're saying you're a daughter of the divine, I'm connecting because I believe I am a son of the divine. As a daughter of the divine, how do you show up as a daughter of the divine?
I show up, and I think I touched on this earlier, as a vessel. as a vessel for writings, as a vessel for healing. I think that each encounter that I have, whether it's with, my daughter or my colleagues or someone I encounter just briefly in a store, in a shop, that each moment is a divine encounter, and that I'm having a holy communion with someone, and that, again, that's divinely appointed, that we were meant to connect, we were meant to meet in that moment. So I show up, I think, as availability, I show up as receptivity, I show up as a curious being, as a searcher. I write about this in the beginning of my book, in the introduction, about my spiritual journey and where I began and the path that I embarked upon, because I always had this desire to be close to God. Whatever that looked like, I just knew I wanted to be that. And it shows up as my art, my paintings. It shows up as writing. It shows up as just being willing to create.
Here's the thing that I'm connecting with you, because I'm a painter as well. I can't really show my artwork, but it is around in my studio, aka the garage. Creative beings create. We just love to create. When did you really have a first realization that you were a creative being?
I think I was really young. I remember always being very antsy and wanting to make something or do something. And I remember, literally tugging on my mother's, bathrobe, in the mornings, oh, I want to make something. So I was very arts and crafty as a kid and wanted to make things. And it showed up as art first, as just, what we know inherently, that we know that, right? Because most schools, when you're a kid, it's all about the craft. It's all about the building and the painting, and we often get away from that. But
Right.
I think that, womankind has known that that's so integral to who we are. But then it also showed up as the writing. As a young child, I liked writing poems and poetry, and writing in a journal, from the time I was 8 years old.
I'm going to go back a little bit. I don't know, but for some reason, I think you were there with me. We had this is all a long time ago. We had this sacred painting class at Agape on Buckingham. Did you remember being in a class with me? Sacred painting?
Was this through Wasuli, or was it something
Yes.
else?
No, remember that? And remember I remember you being there, and we would paint something, and then we'd have to rotate, and someone else would paint. So it was just a process of creating. I remember us being together. That just flashed into me. I remember you being in that class. That was such an amazing experience. When did you know that you were a gifted writer?
Did I know I was a gifted writer?
Because you are, by the way, you are a gifted. If you don't know it, girl, my sister Fred, you are a gifted writer.
Thank you so much. When did I know that? I knew it was a calling, I would say, when I was about 12. I remember I have a very vivid memory of being on my bed, resting on the back of my bed, and thinking about this poem. And it was called, sadly, Empty, Black and Lonely. And I remember the delight I felt in the rhymes, lonely and crony. I remember the delight because it was like a puzzle for me, putting these pieces together, these letters and these words. And so I was really excited about that process. And I remember that year, I didn't win the poetry contest, but I think I came in first place or runner up. But I remember my classmate, she went on to become a poet. So I felt really in good company. So a gifted writer, I really see it as, again, this would be the pose, just being open and available to letting the words come through.
That's beautiful. I am inspired by the book that we talked about, and the cover is just beautiful. This week, I have been in the lesson of surrendering, and Reverend Sandra Quiros is online with us today, and she just said hello. She's also my realtor as I'm looking for a home to buy, and I'm learning how to surrender to God because I want the home now. I want the big backyard. I want everything, and it's been a journey of finding the right space. And this whole week has been about surrendering. Early this week, I opened up to this page here on page 134. You write and it's entitled "The Grace and Surrender." I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read just a little bit of this. There exists a way of loving and being, a way of seeing and knowing, a way of revealing and revealing that is yours for the asking and for the accepting. You do not have to wait until you have the land, the perfect mate, or the job or the home. Oh, yeah, you're speaking to me, sister girl. You can have it all now. The blessings, the grace, the epiphanies, the joy, the peace, the light, the delight, all of your dreams awaiting your manifestation. They long to emerge from the den of possibilities into the dazzling flow of realization. Now, if you don't know that was gifted, that spoke to me. It was like, it's already happening now. Stop trying to make it happen, yo. Just realize it's already happening. So this book in landscapes, every page you can pull nuggets from. Do you minister to yourself when you write these words?
I laugh at that because I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny to me that people say, "Oh my gosh, Karen, how did you know? This is what I was going through." And different people have called me up. So yes, I realize that it's touching people, that the writing is touching people. But I know, in back of every single line, in back of every single passage, there's a story. That's something that happened to me in real life. So in writing this, Spirit was ministering to me. And so I don't describe the details of the specific human situation, but it's all embedded in me. So when I open the page, I remember, oh, yes, this was about such and such and such and such. But I think it's relatable because it's in universal terms and principles. But there's a specific story of what I was going through when I wrote the pieces. So yes, Spirit ministered to me through the writing.
So let's talk about spiritual awakening, because this is a great segue right into it. When did you understand that there was more than this human incarnation, that you were a spiritual being? How did that come about, and what has that journey been like? Because I know where we start is not where we are today. So what has your spiritual awakening been like?
I would say that I knew early on. Because I happened to have been born, and I'm just kind of being, I should say, quote marks. I happened to be born. I chose to be born through this really wonderful presence called Leola Wyatt-Brailsford, my mother, and she was deeply spiritual, deeply rooted, deeply anchored in a traditional Christian way, and so she opened up the possibilities of attending a particular church. It was a Baptist church in New York. And so it was through that I came to Spirit, or that I came to God, this awareness that there is something really dynamic and magnificent happening. That's the language that we use now. But I knew, I come from a family. It wasn't just my mother, my extended family. People would have dreams and encounters, and everyone, I think, pretty much has this depth. Has this sense that we're not just this. We're not just this flesh and bone and skin, hair, follicles. That we are so much more than that. So I'd like to say that I chose the right parents. My father also had a deep-rooted spirituality. Yes. And so that just set me on the course, because I also knew at the same time, this is not exactly my belief system, or I think there's something more than what I was hearing or how I interpreted what was coming through, the Baptist minister and ministries in that denomination. And so it propelled me to search for more. It propelled me to search for myself, what's real for me. Simultaneously, I became really close friends with a classmate starting when I was 12 in 6th grade, and her mother, whom I still adore and love and honor, she and the family, they were maybe atheists, maybe agnostic. And so that was interesting to me, because I just knew that, well, I don't believe in a God that's going to send this person to hell.
Right. Right.
Idea of, well, is there hell? And so, because there's no way, that Mrs. D is going to hell. Angelic presence, and she is still such an angelic presence. So that also kind of like it guided me. It steered my path in terms of what I wanted to look into and what I wanted to understand and find my own personal connection to God and how I would define that. And I found it at Agape. Right? You know, when I walked through those doors, it was a yes moment for me.
Right.
In that yes moment. I write about this in the introduction to Sacred Landscapes of the Soul. But when I walked through those doors and then Reverend Michael started speaking, he had the resonance, the tone of like a Baptist minister to me. And then, and yet, you know, he was saying something that had been tweaked a bit, you know, in terms of the message. And so it all came together for me there.
Powerful. And one of the things that I think we all experience is going to that door for the very first time in Buckingham. That experience of Buckingham was, you know, and it still is special when you walk into Agape for the first time and you feel all the love, all the presence of spirit, something I will never forget, something I will never truly forget. So what would you say your purpose is, and what is purpose? If, you know, we have someone who's listening, and by the way, this is actually going to be available as a podcast. It is actually already up on Spotify now. So the replay will be up tomorrow on Spotify and other places where you listen to get your podcast. But for our listeners and viewers right now, what would you say purpose is, and what would you say your purpose is?
I like to keep it maybe somewhat broad. So my purpose, and I've already touched on it, my purpose is to be here for God. And it shows up in different ways. You know, it shows up, I think, as this book. You know, it shows up as Sacred Landscapes of the Soul. But again, for me, it's about being a vessel and being available. And, you know, I doubt very much that Spirit is going to say, tomorrow, Karen, enroll in medical school, because I was not a science person. I doubt that's going to happen. And I pray it won't happen, because I'll have to say yes, and I'll just be like, what the heck, you know? But and there's a lot of that with me going on. I'm not someone who's just like, oh, okay, whatever you say, let me just do that. No.
Right.
I'm like, really? Oh, okay, you know. And you talked earlier about listening, and I wrote a piece about listen and obey, because one also has to obey, and that came from a conversation I had with Reverend Michael, and it led to my writing this intervisions about listening and obeying. So you can't just listen, you also have to obey. And I would say I'm not necessarily someone who surrenders just like, you know, right there. I'm going to be honest. You know, sometimes I'm thinking, oh, okay, really? Okay, well, I'll go along with that. We'll see. Or sometimes I'm more ecstatic, and I know that every single time when I listen, what ends up happening, I'm like, thank goodness, that was so great. That was so wonderful. It's I know it's always for my highest good. And so why I even resist to begin with, who knows?
So that's my question. How do you know, and what is the process of your surrender? Because everyone has a different process. Mine is always, well, you know, God is saying, let's be here. And I'm going, no, I'm going to test the waters and do the research over here. And maybe I'll do a tiptoe over to here. Mine was within a back surgery, which I was in the hospital after doing 30 years of fitness. And as my second back surgery, and I've been playing with this idea of being a full-time minister, and I was just in so much fear. I didn't know what this was going to look like. After 10 years, or actually 9 years at the time of going to the study, I went to pick up a weight of teaching fitness. You know, I trained your daughter for a while, picking up a weight, and my whole entire back went out, and I was paralyzed in my right leg. And then, you know, I went home. I was on the plane for so many hours to Jersey, came back home. You know, Bill had to pick me up and take me to the hospital. I could not walk. In the bed, I heard, "Are you ready to surrender?" That was a process for me to get to that point of surrendering to full-time ministry. And I never looked back. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to go through a back surgery, but Karen, what does your process of surrendering look like?
Thanks for sharing that. I do remember now that had happened to you. What is it that Reverend Michael says you'll be called? What is it? Pulled by a vision? You can
push by pain or called by vision. Yes, pulled by vision. Yes,
that's
a great quote.
That, right? Oh my goodness. My process looks like going within. So I pray, and my prayers and my meditation as well. I meditate, looks like journaling and dialoguing with spirit. So my journal for how many years? Like at least 10 years. It's not my just saying, oh, this happened, that happened. It's actually a dialogue. I love conversations with God. Neil Walsh, John Walsh.
Yeah,
so that's how I surrender. In which, so it's a letter. It's a dialogue in which I'm speaking to God, and so there's me, and we know there's no separation, but and then there's this energy coming back, and so I guess that's sort of a deliberation in a way, but it's a conversation. It's a conversation, and the messages that come through are really profound, even if in that moment I have no idea how profound they are. So I'm able to. It's like this puzzle again. I love putting together words. I also like putting together my life in terms of things that have happened. So I can go into my journal, which is electronic, in notes in my iPhone, each day, and I can search for something and go back and I can see the clues. That Spirit was giving me about what was happening. I'm never really told anything. I'm never really told like, oh, this is going to happen. It's more like there are these like clues and like trust. And I can go back and say like, oh, that's why this, this little message, which meant nothing to me at the time. So when I go back and do that process, it makes me remember and shows me how supported I am and how supported I've been on the journey, which is, so I have this evidence. I have this, tactile evidence that, oh my gosh, God has been guiding me. The universe has been steering me in the right direction. So whenever I'm thinking of not surrendering, I can go back and see, oh, yes, right. Well, you were right then. So let me just trust. And you should know, when I was at Agape, I still carry in my wallet. It's really crumpled now, but it's an index card, and it says, "I surrender my life to God." So I keep, and it's it's really tattered now, but I must have written it during my very first class, at Agape. I'm also aware about divine timing. You and I talked about this dance we've had about becoming a minister. I'm not a minister. I didn't go through the program, but I did dabble and I thought about it, and we would take turns.
Yes.
No, I don't have time for that. I remember
I'm not doing it.
Oh, okay, but I'm on that road, and then you're Reverend Skip. I'm not Reverend Karen. And so I'm also aware of divine timing, that there might be times in which things happen in, what's the expression, fits and starts. So I remember starting classes at Agape, and it was actually then Science of Mind 2 that I began, that my mother began her transitioning process, and so I had to drop out of the class and go to New York. And it was several years later when I woke up one Sunday morning and thought, you've got to go to Agape. And that was much later, 7 years later than I think when I was first taking classes. And then I just went through this way, and accelerated through the classes and became a licensed practitioner. So I'm aware of timing might not look the way we expect it to look, and that everything is happening in time and on time. And also, I think why I was so, I think I told you at the top of this that I've been just smiling the entire time when you were first talking, and you and Diego were, just having your dance and this wonderful soulful discourse, that I was just beaming, because I have the sense that, yes, everything is happening in time and on time. And, I'm here right now, and you're here right now, and we're meant to connect right now. And
that's right.
It's so beautiful, and it's exciting. And most importantly, this thing called life can be a lot fun. Can be a lot of fun if we just go with it and acknowledge and support ourselves. Beautiful. But also, realize some of this stuff is so silly and fun.
It is silly and fun. It is silly and fun. And one of the things I love, and this is our yes moment, and yes is an acronym. You know, I love an acronym. You expressing spirit. And in this yes moment, I am hoping that you're going to read something from Sacred Landscapes of the Soul. And before you do that, this is kind of a challenging thing. It's like I asked Faith Rivera on our podcast, which song is your favorite song? And she goes, that's like asking which one's my favorite child. So which writing is your favorite writing?
It's true. I cannot say it's my favorite. I cannot pick one. But I will pick a kind of piece that I have. Most of the pieces, as you know, are you know, there's a pattern of, you know, there's the introduction, there's a quotation or epigraph, and there's the passage, and then there's the affirmation, which I call peak speak. So yeah, I love that because, you know, I do love rhyming. So
I love. Yes.
Speak came to me, so the highest speaking. But some of the passages were direct conversations with God, or not conversation, actually a message. And so they begin, dear beloved. So I love those pieces in which, you know, that thin wall of seeming separation, you know, vanishes, and Spirit is speaking directly to me and therefore to the reader. Dear Rev Skip. And then, you know, it goes into the passage, and those pieces are signed, love, I think something like God in you and as you. God in you and as you. So those kinds of pieces are really, you know, they take me back to the time in which they came through. And so I just remember how loved I felt and how supported I felt.
That's beautiful. So everyone, we're stepping into our yes moment with our dear friend Karen. So I'm allow her to create the space. It's yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Maybe I'll just do a quick prayer first, and then I'm going to do the way I recommend that people read the book, which is just to open it and then see where you land. So that I don't even know what I'm going to read. So
I love that. Yes.
Yes. So I'm just turning within in this moment, grateful for this holy now moment, thankful for this exchange of heart and soul, and fun, the dynamic, animated presence and spirit is here now. And so it is guiding me. It's the truth of who I am, why I am here. I'm blessing the reading of this word. I'm blessing the hearers of this word. I give thanks and I simply say, and so it is, amen. So
it is.
So from that amen, let's see. Oops. So this is what I turn to. Hi, surprise. So this piece is called The Love in the Low.
Ooh.
It comes from the landscape of indecision. And that landscape is the plateau. And so I will just read a few pieces from it. It says, and I love this because I wrote this piece, I guess it came through around Christmas time. But as I say in the introduction, you can read these pieces at any time of the year. So there's a holiday backdrop. So it says, after all the rebirthing of the holiday season, it's now time to embrace a brand new year. What will it bring, we wonder? What new vision, new person, new thing? But what if instead of the pa-rum-pa-pum-pum of our drum playing, those moments when we deliver our gifts so freely, shine our light so magnificently, and recognize so clearly, just like the little drummer boy, that we have something special to offer. We are met with the humdrum rhythms of day-to-day life. Do not worry, for in the silence, when nothing seems to be happening, there is tremendous opportunity to hear what is being shouted from the farthest corners of the universe. I am with you always. The pregnant pause allows for the breath. One is now attuned to the beats in between each and every heartbeat. And so the epigraph says, faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark. The Peak Speak reads, I stand unwavering in the absolute awareness that the universe supports my every heartfelt intention. I trust that all is well, always. And so it is. Amen.
That is known as the spiritual mic drop moment right there. Mic drop. Karen, that is beautiful.
Thank you so much, Rev Skip.
Diego, let's bring up her website. It's a beautiful website where you can get more information on Karen and Karen's writing. Powerful, powerful, powerful. I'm gonna call you minister. You might not have the license, but you ministering yourself all over the place, girl. So keep doing what you're doing, because you know the license is only a process, but you are a minister, my sister. You are a minister. You are a gift upon this planet. Please check out Karen's website. We have it right there. It's also in our program notes, everyone. KarenBrailsford.com, and you can get more information and stay with her. Sign up for a newsletter. I love her newsletter, and when it comes out, it's like, yeah, this is the kind of newsletter I want. I think I even like emailed you once saying, do you do newsletters? Because I want you to do my newsletter. It was so to the point. It was so beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm having so much fun. Again, being creative with like building my own website, and I like doing all these things. So it's been really fun.
You are truly an inspiration for me. So thank you. And let's put up our follow right there. We can follow Karen. If you're listening to this, it's in the program notes, but you can know that's mine. But I love it. Right. On Instagram, I am Karen Brailsford. On Twitter, yes, I am Karen. Well, you got to bring it back.
BB.
Yeah. And Facebook.
Valencia, that's my middle name.
Valencia. Ooh, I love that. And you are Spiritual Knit on Facebook?
Spirit Knit. Yeah, Spirit Knit.
Spirit Knit. I love that. Everything will be in the program notes. If you're listening to this tomorrow or the next day or whenever you listen to it, you'll get all the information. Any more books coming your way?
Oh, of course. Something is going to be coming, right? Something must be coming. Exactly. Because I'm here, but I don't have a title or a name, or it's not written yet, but it's coming.
That was the same thing Ricky Byers said. I said, any new music? It's always new coming through me. There's always new music. There's always new writings. And speaking of that, my Inner Vision is due coming up in 5 days. I need to get right.
Me too.
We also write for a online magazine called Inner Vision, as a part of the Agape International Spiritual Center. If you go to agapelive.com, you'll be able to go to the shop and get the Inner Visions. It's written by ministers and practitioners of Agape. It is a daily devotional that I use every day to allow us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Diego, for putting that in the feed, and you're able to have that inspiration there. Also, follow me. And I am Rev Skip Jennings on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I've learned how to bring it all together to one handle because it's easy for me to remember. So my handle is Rev Skip Jennings, at Rev Skip Jennings. Get that. Also, again, we just announced it. It is now a podcast. So you can hear this the next day after you view it on Facebook Live. You're able to listen to it wherever you get your podcast. It'll be out on, I think, iTunes really soon. I think they're going through a process right now, but everywhere else is going to be on iHeartRadio. So it's there now. Also on Spotify, wherever you get it, and subscribe to it. Leave messages there because we do read our messages. Also, y'all, you can take me home and not cook me breakfast. That's the truth. Go to skipjennings.com. That is my website where you can find out about my book, The Little Book for Big Transformation, the second edition, which is now available in digital and Audible, which I did the editing and everything. It's me speaking it, so you can get that there. Also, you can find out more about Unity Radio, which is our radio show called Voices of Unity with Faith Rivera. She is an Emmy Award-winning songwriter and great voice, amazing musician, and also Reverend Jackie Fernandez. And you can find out more about that and where you can listen. That is also a podcast or you can get it live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, find out more information how you can support this ministry here. It is the New Thought Media Network. Can we bring up that information where they can donate? You can donate to here to keep the ministry going, or donate to me on PayPal, which is skipjennings.com. Did we get all the information in, Diego? I think we did everything we are required to help to lift this. Diego, come in. I see your face. See, you can't pop in and me not bring you into the feed again. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Press the buttons.
Yes, you are. We just want to thank you again, and thank you for all the things that you do here, Diego. Karen, this has been one of my favorite interviews ever. Thank you so much for being a part of my life. Thank you so much for the work you do. And I am grateful for you, knowing that we're going to do great things together. We're going to keep doing great things together. Please say hello to your daughter. And I just love her, and I'm following her career as well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful experience here. So say hello to your daughter. Also, everyone, this is what I always want to let you know. Transformation is a choice, and you can choose today. Be well and be blessed until next week, where I'm going to have a longtime friend of mine, Kelly Roberts, who is a diva in the fitness industry. And she's gone through an amazing transformational spiritual journey, and she wants to share that with us next week. So stay tuned, keep up, and remember to subscribe, love us, and share it, and all that other stuff. So God bless everyone. Peace and blessings. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of In the Flow. If you enjoyed this programming, please help us spread this joy. Be sure and give this video a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. New Thought Media Network can be found on Facebook or our YouTube channel. Additional contributions are greatly appreciated at ntmedia.org/donate, or find Rev Skip on PayPal and Venmo. Tune in on Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 Mountain, when Rev Skip welcomes a new guest. Until then, faith, love, openness, and willingness keeps us in the flow. New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience, or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.